Hola estudiantes, today we're going to talk about the verb ser versus the verb estar. So we've already learned that both ser and estar mean to be, but they cannot be used interchangeably, so we're going to review their forms and talk about when to use each one. Okay? Alright, so we know the verb ser means to be, and you remember the song that we sang in class, Yo soy, tú eres, él, ella es. You remember that song, okay? So here are the forms. Soy, eres, es, somos, and son. Okay, so you need to know which one is which. Remember, yo soy means I am. Tú eres is you are. Él es, he is. Ella es, she is. Usted es, you are. Nosotros somos, we are. Ellos son, they are. And ustedes son, you all are. Okay, so pause the video and make sure that you fill out the forms of ser in part E of your note, or sorry, part A of your note guide. Okay, so there is an acronym that you can use to help remember when to use the verb ser. So if you're trying to make a description of something, you're trying to describe it, okay, you're going to use ser. If you're talking about an occupation, someone's profession, the job they do, you're going to use ser. If you're talking about a characteristic, and again, I'll explain these a little bit more later, but if you're trying to explain a characteristic of a person or a thing, then you're going to use ser. If you're talking time, like time, day of the week, month, and so on, that you're going to use ser for that. Origin is like where someone is from, you use the verb ser. And relationship, like how someone is related to someone else, you're going to use the verb ser. Okay, so here are some examples in English, okay, that show you how you would translate, for example, using the verb ser. Okay, so the boys are tall. You're describing the boys as being tall, so you would use the verb ser to do this. Okay, occupation. She is a doctor. So again, this is saying what someone's career is. Okay, you would use the verb ser in Spanish to say that. A characteristic, I am serious. Okay, so I'm describing myself as a characteristic of being serious. Okay, let's look at time. Today is Tuesday, you would use ser. It is 9 a.m., you would use ser. Tomorrow is February 12th, you would use ser. Origin, where someone is from. I am from Indiana. Okay, and relationship, she is my cousin. Those are all uses of the verb ser. So remember, doctor is a good acronym to remember. If you can remember doctor, then you can go through each one and remember description, occupation, and so on. Okay? All right, here are the translations for those examples in Spanish. So a description, los chicos son altos. Remember, this was the boys are tall. Occupation, ella es doctora, she is a doctor. Characteristic, soy serio or soy seria. I am serious. Time, hoy es martes, today is Tuesday. Son las 9 de la mañana, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. Mañana es el 12 de febrero, tomorrow is the 12th of February. Yo soy de Indiana, I'm from Indiana. And ella es mi prima, she is my cousin. Alright, so let's look back at the verb estar. Okay, so we did a little song with this one as well. Estoy, estás, está. Estamos, estáis, están. Estoy, estás, está. Estamos, estáis, están. So remember that these forms, again, are used to say what someone is, but we use them in a different way, okay? So yo estoy, just like yo soy, means I am. Tú estás, just like tú eres, means you are, okay, and so on. So let's pause the video at this time and fill in the estar chart for part A of your note guide, and don't forget the accent marks. So just like we had an acronym for ser, we have one for estar as well. So notice we can spell out the word place in order to know when to use estar. Okay, so the P would stand for position, where something is positioned. L is location, where something is located or someone is located. A is for action. C is for condition, like what condition someone or something is in, and E is for emotion or how someone is feeling. Okay, so the acronym place can be used to help you remember when to use estar. Okay, so let's look at these examples. Place, I am seated. Okay, Notice I have a little asterisk after that, which means you haven't really learned how to use this construction, so I don't need you to worry about it too much this year. But in Spanish 2, you'll learn to use these a bit more, okay? Location, for example, the food is in the cafeteria, okay? You're talking about where the food is located. Action, I am talking. Again, notice the asterisk, which means that you'll learn more about this next year in Spanish 2. Okay, condition, she is tired. That is her condition. Emotion, we are happy. That is our emotion. So notice you cannot use the verb ser to talk about where things are located, how people feel, their emotions, their conditions, and so on. Okay, so here are the translations in Spanish. The example with I am seated, yo estoy sentado. Location, la comida está en la cafetería. Remember, the food is in the cafeteria. Action, yo estoy hablando. We'll look at that more next year. Condition, ella está cansada. She is tired. And emotion, nosotros estamos contentos. We are happy or content. Okay, practiquemos. Let's practice. Número 1 says, my grandmother is very intelligent. So let's think about how we're wanting to use, what kind of example we're using here. And we need to look at our acronyms and see which one we might want to use. In this case, we want to use ser because we're making a description, and we are also describing a characteristic. So the correct answer for the first one is mi abuelo es muy inteligente. Okay? Número 2, where is the bathroom? Well, for this one, it's a location, and we know that place is the acronym we pull from. So location would be estar. So we would say, ¿Dónde está el baño? Número 3, are you from Panama? Well, we know origin from the acronym doctor says where someone is from. So we want to use ser. So we would say, ¿Eres tú de Panama? And I apologize, there should be a question mark here at the end. Okay? Número 4, my mother is a secretary. Okay, and this one we're talking occupation, which falls under the acronym SER, okay, for doctor. So occupation SER, mi madre es secretaria. And the last one wants you to say, I am angry today. And because angry is an emotion, we're going to pull from place for emotion using estar. We would say, yo estoy enojado hoy. Más práctica. Okay, the house is big. You're describing the house, or you're giving it a characteristic, so you want to use the verb ser. Okay, la casa es grande. Número 2, my homework is in my binder. So for this one, you're talking location, which would be estar. Okay, so mi tarea está en mi bloc. 3 wants us to say today is the 23rd of September. And we talk about time using ser, so we would say, hoy es el 23 de septiembre. 4, we are excited. Being excited is an emotion, so we need estar. Nosotros estamos emocionados. And then the last one, the boys are my cousins, because you're describing the relationship between the boys and the cousins. You would use ser. Los chicos son mis primos. If you have additional questions, please see the notes provided on page 253 of your Avancemos textbook. Remember that you have a flipped mini quiz when you come in tomorrow. And also, don't forget to complete Part C of your note guide, where it asks you to complete the following sentences by filling in the correct form of ser or estar. Make sure you use the front of your note guide to help you figure out which one to use and also which form to use.